It didn't come with thunder, no fire, no blazing trail across the sky. Just silence. On the night of October 17th, the moon changed. Astronomers first noticed an anomaly, a faint ripple across its surface, like breath on a mirror. Then came the light, pale, flickering, wrong. It wasn't a reflection, nor a flare. It was as if the moon had awakened and blinked. Government said it was a meteorite, a minor impact, nothing to fear. But the data didn't align. No seismic readings, no ejecta, no impact zone, just a distortion. Some called it a glitch in our instruments. Others, those who still watch the skies, they called it by a different name, Moonfall. They were right to be afraid. It began with dreams, scattered at first, isolated reports of sleepwalking, vivid nightmares, and strange muttering in unknown tongues. But soon, patterns emerged. Thousands across the globe described the same vision: a dead sea under a cracked sky, a field of dust, and beneath it, movement. They spoke of towering figures buried in silence, bound in shapes too alien to describe, of chants that made their ears bleed, of an immense door pulsing at the edge of perception. Psychologists called it mass hysteria. Neurologists blamed solar radiation. But none could explain why hundreds of children from different continents drew the exact same spiral symbol, over and over. Then came the voices. Audio engineers, scanning radio static, picked up rhythmic pulses, too precise to be natural. Not a signal, but a language. Linguists tried to decode it. What they found were phonetic fragments older than any known dialect, patterns resembling pre-human structures, and names not meant to be spoken. Some who listened too long stopped sleeping entirely. Others spoke only in whispers. One man carved a phrase into his wall, the same words now spreading across online forums like a virus. The dream is not a dream, it's a memory. The world watched in silence as the moon shifted, ever so slightly. What had once been a symbol of constancy now felt unstable, watching. So, they sent a team, not just astronauts, but linguists, physicists, psychologists, specialists in things most people had never heard of. Officially, it was a research expedition. Unofficially, it was containment. The crew landed near the impact site, but there was no crater, just a smooth depression, shaped unnaturally precise. Like something had broken through, not fallen in. The soil was too loose, too warm. Instruments malfunctioned. The team's logs became increasingly erratic. Reports of hallucinations, missing time, and singing. They heard it inside their helmets, faint melodies without a source. One crew member tried to trace the vibration by tapping on the ground. He claimed the dust answered back. Another refused to sleep, saying she felt something breathing beneath the floor of the module. When they reviewed her sleep data, there were no brainwaves, just silence. Then came the last transmission, an open channel, static and breathing, and a voice, faint, trembling, whispering one phrase again and again. It's hollow. It's hollow. It's not a rock. Contact was lost, and no one went back. But satellite footage leaked, enough for the obsessed to analyze. Frames showing shifting shadows, a geometric symbol pulsing beneath the surface, and something moving, slowly, from within the moon's crust. We weren't meant to dig, and whatever we woke up was never truly asleep. They are not gods, not in the way we understand gods. They have no form, only presence. They do not live, they persist. They were old before time, buried beneath the moon before Earth had oceans, before the sun had names. They are the remnants of a thought too vast, too alien, to belong to this universe. The ancients who sealed them left no scripture, no idols, no myth, only warnings. Etched in impossible angles, hidden beneath polar ice, mirrored in spiral glyphs carved into stone walls we now call natural formations. We thought them art, but they were locks, symbols that once held reality in place until we forgot what they meant. They do not speak, but they remember, and now they stir. The impact on the moon was no accident. It was a signal, a key, a breath in a vault that had been still for eons. Some now believe the moon was never a natural satellite, but a construct, a container, built by something older than stars, a vessel meant not to carry life, but to hold it back. But we are forgetful creatures. We poked and studied and prodded at the shell until it answered. And it did not answer with sound. It answered within us. Those who dream now hear them. Not voices, impressions, thoughts not their own, bleeding through. First came the symbols, then the whispers, then the memories. People speaking languages they've never learned. Describing cities not of stone or steel, but of thought and dimension. Cities that move, that breathe, that rearrange themselves when looked at. Others have visions of inverted space, where down is forward and light folds around corners that shouldn't exist. One child drew a map that spiraled endlessly inward. When scanned digitally, it produced sound, not static, but structure, measurable, repeating, like DNA. Scientists went mad trying to decode it. Priests refused to look at it. One physicist locked himself in a lab and repeated a single phrase until he bit off his own tongue. They're not coming. They're remembering their way back. The hollow sleepers do not walk. They unfold. They do not move through space. They move through concepts. Their return will not be a war. It will be an unmaking, a rewriting of all logic, all memory, all form, not with malice, but with indifference, because to them, we are not alive. We are only shapes. Some say we were never alone, that Earth was a garden and the moon a lock. We opened it, not with force, but with curiosity, with questions we weren't meant to ask. The hollow sleepers do not arrive. They awaken inside, in minds that dream, in thoughts that spiral, in silence between breaths. You've seen them, in symbols you can't unsee, in nightmares that don't end when you wake. And if you listen now, really listen, you'll hear the hum behind the silence, the rhythm behind your heartbeat. They are not coming. They are already here. If you've heard them too, you're not alone. Like this video to preserve the memory. Subscribe if you dare to listen further. There are more doors, and some of them are already open.